Hello everyone and very welcome to the channel CAS in the Cockpit again. Welcome back to CAS in the Cockpit Season 2. I'm Captain Wohlwend and this time we are moving to the big leagues, the Boeing 777-300ER. In this episode we will start from a completely cold and dark cockpit and prepare the aircraft for flight, step by step, including the FMC setup, IRS alignment and pre-flight configuration. So if you're ready for takeoff, let's power up the 777. We are here at Washington Airport in the USA. I am gonna show you our aircraft for the season number 2 of CAS in the Cockpit. Well, there it is. Here's our beloved 777. Before starting, thank you very much to PMDG, because PMDG is the company that created this model for the Microsoft Flight Simulator. You have to pay if you want to have this model in your collection of aircrafts, and of course the PMDG Boeing 777-300ER is one of the best aircrafts I ever flew in Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's why I have chosen this aircraft for the season number 2, because it's very detailed and completely aircraft model that has everything for flight simulation in a semi-professional way. So after that I'm gonna open the camera panel like I showed you in the season 1. I'm gonna put it over here and reset the position of our aircraft. We can look the aircraft in the external view, of course. As you can see, this is a very giant aircraft. This is enormous, and it's for the airline long-haul flights. So it's very nice, should I say. So we go inside the cockpit here. We are now in the cockpit of the 777, and the doors are already closed. So right now the 777 is completely powered down. The first step is to connect the battery, external power and bring the aircraft to life. After that, the IRS alignment and initial setup, and then we will go with the FMC setup, this FMC over here. So after that we will do some final checks and briefing before the next step for the flight. So I'm gonna open my Boeing 777 checklist, and with that checklist I will teach you and show you all the procedures I do normally before a simulation flight. Alright, I have the checklist right now. We're gonna begin with the pre-flight checklist. Completely powered down, the first thing we have to do is to check the parking brake. We have to check that the parking brake is set, as you can see. And after that we can turn on the battery. So easy is that. So we go to the electrical panel and here's the battery, we turn it on. That's easy. After that we have to check our hydraulic panel, that everything apart from the engine left and right is in the off position. The wipers should be off, of course, left and right wiper. Then we check that our alternate flap selector is in the off position, and then the landing gear lever, that it's in the down position. After that we check the bus tie switches, should be in the auto position. And now we can request the external power connection. We go to our PMDG Universal Flight tablet and click ground operations, and then we request ground power. We can see that the ground power is already connected, so we can turn the external power on. We begin with primary external power and then secondary external power. Alright, external power is on. Then we can turn on the APU if we want. We put APU in the on position and then start, and it goes automatically back to on. So the APU is starting right now. We are powering up the 777. While that is in progress, I will show you the registration of the aircraft. In this case, it's the PMDG 777 model, so it's November 773 Echo Romeo, and the SELCAL code is Echo Romeo Mike Papa. That's the information of our specific aircraft model. If we click in Boeing 777, we can bring the flight tablet with us here, close to the FMC. You will see later why is this useful. And if we want it back to the auto position, we click it here, and then the tablet is right back to the initial position. So after that, we can click here in this button for the normal menu of the tablet. We have 5 apps available. I only use the first 3 apps, the electronic flight bag, performance tool, and ground operations. And I will teach you, of course, why are these apps useful in the flight. So we are waiting for the power up of the 777. As you can see, the screens are coming alive. We have to wait until all the screens are on, and while that is in progress, I can show you the external view of the 777. It's a giant aircraft, as you can see here. It has the biggest engines for a commercial aircraft. As you can see, they are giant. And then we can see here that the external power is also connected to the aircraft. So after that, we can see that the screens are already on, so the aircraft is powered up already. And after waiting 30 seconds to 1 minute before turning on the ADIRU, we have to wait 30 seconds to 1 minute after powering up the 777. So right now it's powered up. As you can see, we are only checking that the APU is running. So right now we can wait 30 seconds and then turn on the ADIRU. Alright, that should be enough. So we go to the overhead panel, and here it says ADIRU. We turn that button to the on position, and now that's the called IRS alignment. We have to wait until the ADIRU is started. So here we'll get a timer over here with the time left for the alignment of the ADIRU. While that is in progress, we can check our engine page here. I will select the engine page here, and we check that our oil quantity is enough, in this case 28 in both engines, so that's perfect. And then to the start button, we check the oxygen and crew press. Oxygen 1850, the quantity and press are the same or almost the same in the hydraulic. So we check hydraulic, oxygen, and APU. Here you can check oil quantity as well, and press or temperature. After that is completed, we can click start again and turn off the screen. We will check some messages that we got over here. So nav ADIRU inertial. That means that the ADIRU is not aligned yet. As you can see here, time to align 0 seconds. That means that the ADIRU is ready to the alignment, but we didn't align it yet, so that message is expected. The hydraulic press systems left, center, and right is also expected, as well as the engine shutdown, because they are shut down. As you can see, cut off. The auto brake should be in the off position, not in the disarm position. I could be clicked that That was a mistake maybe before recording the video or while doing the procedures. I didn't notice. So it has to be in the off position. Landing altitude is expected. The ILEC IV seats and cabin utilities are not expected, so we can check that in the overhead panel those switches are off, so we have to turn both to the on position. The brake source and TCAS are also expected. The emergency lights are expected because they are not armed, as you can see, and are not guarded. Then the doors, we are only 2 pilots for the demonstration flight, so the doors should be already closed. So we can go to ground operations, door management, and close all the doors. So you can see these 4 doors were open. And everything is closed right now, so it's fine. We still look for that message. That means that you can see all the doors this side are closed, but these cargo doors must be open because of these things over here. So after they are gone, we can close both cargo doors. Window heat should be on. We checked that window heat is an operative, so we can turn the 4 on. We check window heat is on, the message is gone, and fuel press, engine left and right is also expected. Now we have 9 messages. We can recall again to check that the 9 messages still there, and after that we cancel everything. So if you receive a new message here, you notice that everything were wrong or something like that. After that, we have to do the oxygen test. We can already put the sit in this mode here for the first officer as well for the captain. And then we can do the oxygen test, pressing here in the oxygen mask. First officer was good. Our side, everything is okay. So that concludes with the pre-flight configuration before the FMC setup. What do we do now? Before continuing with the FMC setup, we have to do the pre-flight checklist. How do we do that? We can select between this screen, and this screen while pressing left, center or right. In our case we are using this one, so we have to press center. Check that the yellow light writes here in the center one, and then we press here in checklist. So we open the pre-flight checklist. Oxygen was tested 100%, is checked. Flight instruments, heading and altimeter are checked. The parking brake is set, and the engine's fuel control switches are cut off. So with that we can say pre-flight checklist completed. We can close it, press it again. And right now we are ready for the FMC setup. We click FMC in both for captain and first officer. We check that our model is the 777-300ER, that's 0.2 extended range, and the engine rating is the G9115BL. And after that we can go to the post init page or initialization page. Like I told you before, the time to align is already 0, so the ADIRU is ready to align, but we have to align the ADIRU. How do we do that? We click on the GPS position, we click this button over here. Once we have the position, we click in set inertial position, we copy the GPS position, and now it's ready. We aligned the ADIRU. Well, after that we can put the reference airport or the gate, but that's not necessary if you will link your route with SimBrief. So if we go to the route page, we can request our route today. Here's when we bring our tablet with us here and open the electronic flight pack. And if you don't know about SimBrief, I really recommend you to watch a YouTube tutorial about this flight planning program, because it's free and SimBrief will help you a lot with your flight plans. So the only thing you have to do is to create a free account of SimBrief and then link your account here in the information page of your flight tablet. And then when you request the data from SimBrief, you will receive your last flight plan. For example, here I will show you KLM 589er is the last flight I did before this tutorial that I am recording. So what do I have to do? Today we are flying for this tutorial from Washington. We are currently in Washington DC to New York John F. Kennedy. So what I have to do is to go to my SimBrief and create a new flight plan from Washington to New York. After that I can click request new data from SimBrief and I will upload my new flight plan. Alright, I already created my new flight plan for this flight from Washington DC to New York John F. Kennedy. So I'm going to click again request new data from SimBrief, and as you can see our new flight is already loaded. Our new flight is PMDG 001. It's only an example of a call sign that I created for this tutorial because we are not flying a real flight. The registration, as you can see, is the same, N773ER here. The Boeing is the 777-77W, means 777-300 extended range. The route, Washington JFK, alternate is Kilo Papa Hotel Lima. Cost index is 50, and that's basically what we have to check while entering our route in the flight tablet. So what we're gonna do right now is a route request. We click route request and we can select the PMDG saved routes or the last route we uploaded here, SimBrief route, Washington to New York. We click on that, set the payload and the block fuel, and after that we click select route. So now we are requesting and loading our route from the flight tablet in the aircraft. That's basically what we are doing right now. There it is. Route uplink is ready, so we can click load, and right now we are loading the route to the displays and FMC. We are basically introducing our route in the aircraft systems. Okay, it's ready. After that we can clear all the messages here and press activate and execute. So the route is already set. Next step is going to the departure page, and here in the tablet we're going to our flight plan here and scroll down until we see routing. Here's our route: Washington, runway 01 center, Jacoby 4, Agard, Donald, Hansi, Cameron 4, and the arrival Cameron 4 for runway 04 right in New York, John F. Kennedy. So we select our runway 01 center over here, and the departure is Jacoby 4 over here, and our transition, as you can see here, is Jacoby 4 Agard. So we click in Agard and execute. We set already our departure. As you can see here, it's already configured our departure. I never saw a departure like that, I have to say. It's my first time flying a departure from Washington. So I have to say that that's not normal for me, because I normally fly with complete waypoints. But as you can see, so it is vectors following the runway heading and then to Ringnes. So after that we select the arrival. We click in index and then JFK, our destination, and click in arrival. And then we are going to do the ILS, of course, ILS landing system. It's the best one. 04 right, ILS 04 right. The arrival is Cameron 4. Here it is, Cameron 4. And no transition, so we can click execute, route, and route copy, and that's completed. Then we can go to our legs page and insert the wind data, click load, and then we execute. So the winds are already in, and the FMC communication page, there's forecast uplink, and we load it as well. After that, we go back to the initialization page and accept the aircraft for service, for flight. The center of gravity goes to 30, and we click in the zero fuel weight and insert the data in this page. So today is 451.1. After that, if we click again init ref, we find the takeoff reference. So this is for later. We're gonna do our flight deck setup before doing the takeoff performance calculation, sorry. So I'm gonna teach you how I set the overhead panel. Okay, that should be enough. So here we check ADI on, thrust SM comp, auto, battery, APU, IF-pass cabin, utility, everything on, APU on as well, bus tie switches in auto, the external power on if available, and this panel also everything has to be in the on position. The camera lights, I will turn it on as well, and the wiper should be off. Then the voice recorder in the on position, we arm the emergency lights and guard it. Then the window heat on, the engine hydraulic on, and elec and demand everything in off. The seatbelt sign goes to on. After that here, cargo fire off, engine IG mode norm and start in norm, nozzle off, fuel pumps off, NTIs auto, navigation lights on, and everything apart from the navigation in off, all the lights in off. And here the air conditioning auto on, everything has to be auto or on, and the packs as well in auto, and the wiper off. That's it for the overhead panel. Now in the autopilot we turn on the VORs, VOR left, VOR right. Here VOR right, VOR left. The 4 VORs have to be on, sorry. Then the flight director goes to on as well, and the auto throttle goes to the on position, to the arm position, sorry. Then we can put the slides indicator for the doors in this screen. So we click left screen, door, back to center, and we have the screen already in our left screen. We have the door indicator for the slides. After that, we put the auto brake in the RTO position. And now we can do the takeoff performance calculation. We bring the tablet again here and open the performance tool app. Select the runway 1 center. Import from aircraft, import weather, and then we calculate our takeoff performance. Flaps, first we have to check here percentage N1. We've got 89%, so we go to the thrust limb. As you can see, we have 104, that's full power, that's too much. I think that this case is very uncommon because a very high percent of the takeoffs with the 777 are not using full power. So we'll try with takeoff 2, climb 2, and as you can see, we're using 92% of the engine, so it's very similar to the percentage N1. So we're gonna use takeoff 2, climb 2 for our takeoff. We go back to takeoff, and now we can insert flaps 5. And now we check our speeds. We have V1 145, VR149er and V2156. As you can see, very similar to the calculation of the system. 3 knots more, 2 knots more, 1 knot less. So it's very similar, very normal. Then we put the center of gravity to 8.7, and if we got trim 4.75 here as well, 4.75, we can clear it, and now our takeoff ref is completed, and we can put the tablet over here again. Now we can insert our autopilot data. Our rotation speed is 149er, so we put 149er. Then LNAV VNAV has to be on. Then our heading for runway 01 center is 011 as expected, and our clearance will put 7,000 for the initial climb clearance. Then we can press legs page here, progress page for the first officer FMC, and now we are ready for our pushback. In our case today, as you can see here, we are not in a gate, we are only parked here. We don't have to do the pushback or in the push-pull, so what we have to do is only to do a right turn after starting the engines. We do a left turn, to the taxiway, and then taxi via this taxiway to our takeoff runway. I think this is the runway 1 center. I can check with the VFR map. Yeah, this is 1 center, so we are going to take off this runway. So after starting the engines, we're gonna turn to the left via this taxiway and taxi to the takeoff runway. So no pushback is expected right now. So after that, we are going to check that the APU is running. APU running is checked, and we're gonna close all the doors. We're gonna release all the ground service. After releasing all, you can see there are no more ground services here, and the doors are closing automatically here, as you can see. After that, we can click door management, again close all, just for caution here, and you can see that the doors will be closed in a few seconds. There are they. So right now we can see that everything is closed, and now we can hit the mic here and say, yeah, cabin crew, arm slides. So that indicates and advises the cabin crew to arm all the slides. When they are done, we can see here that the slides are armed. We have 10 A's here, so the 10 doors have their slides armed. After that, we can squawk 2000 because we are flying offline and alone, we don't have traffic, so 2000 for our squawk code. We can hit here cabin interphone for this FMC. And now the frequency, we're gonna let 119.8 because we are not using ATC for this tutorial flight because we are alone in the simulator, we are flying offline. After that, we can turn on the hydraulic. First the right ILEC. When the fault is off, we can turn the other 3 to the on position and the C1 and C2 ILEC to on as well. And then we turn our 4 fuel pumps on, 1, 2, 3 and 4. This remains off, and only if you are flying long haul and you have a lot of fuel on board, a message will appear here and will say fuel in center. Only if you see the message fuel in center here, you can turn on this center fuel pumps, the left and right. If there is no message here, you let it off. And now we can set our trim. As you can see here, the trim is 4.75. We have trim 4 right now, we have to put it in 4.75. So 425, 450, 475. The trim is set. And we turn on our beacon. And now this is the last step for the tutorial of the cold and dark and FMC setup. We're gonna click the checklist again and do the before start checklist. So flight door, we check that it's closed and locked. Passenger signs are on. The MCP we have 149er 011 7000 is checked. The takeoff speeds, if you want to check it again, V1 145, VR 149er, V2 156, CDU preflight completed, trim 4.75, 0, taxi and takeoff briefing completed, beacon is on, before start checklist completed. We can close the page right now. We check the slides are armed, so we click here, we switch to nav and to MFD again, and we will put the minimum range possible, 5 miles, 10 miles in total, and here we can let it in 20 miles if you want, or 40 miles, 20 and 40. So that was it for the cold and dark startup and FMC setup tutorial. I hope you liked it. In the next tutorial, in the next episode, we will do the engine start, the taxi, the takeoff and first climb for the Boeing 777. We're gonna depart from Washington. And then I will show you all the procedures while climbing and reaching the cruise altitude. Thank you very much for watching the video, guys. Like the video if you like what I am doing, or subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye.